Welcome again to our one of our expos. This one, I think, is the second year we're doing a winter summit. It's our fourth big summit, and we're very, very excited to have everyone here. As always, not as always, we started doing this like last summit. We like to give you a quick update on where we are, some of the trends we saw, and a recap on the batch that we just are finishing today. So first, I mean, everything wouldn't be possible without the partners that we have. So first, thank you all for believing in us and being part of the platform. As Said said, we look at you guys as partners because we'd like for you guys to feel ownership over this. And this, the bigger the platform is, the more value everyone's going to get. We also like to thank the startups that are going to be presenting today. A lot of them flew from a lot of different locations to be presenting. Where we are today, as a quick recap, is that, as you guys know, we launched 5 offices starting end of last year until March of this year. Now we have 6 global locations, over 260 deal flows. I think we're done just in Silicon Valley alone. In Silicon Valley now, we're over 75 partners. We actually had a few joining last week. This is our 5th batch. We had roughly 30 companies here. During this last program, we had 3 focus weeks. One focused on life health group benefits. That was very, very focused on underwriting and making sense of data. We also touched base on GDPR and some of the privacy issues that a lot of people are concerned about. And also, how do you denoise the data? From all the data that exists, how do you go down to the data that makes the most sense? The second focus week was around property and casualty, again focused on underwriting. If you guys remember, the last PNC event we had was more focused on fraud detection and claims. This one was a lot more focused on the automation of underwriting and how do you enrich the data for different products. And the last one was focused on distribution around our broker age events. This is the second time we were doing an event focus on distribution, both on the independent agent side and a lot of the brokers and agent distribution channels that a lot of our carrier partners had that had a very good turnaround. Overall, I think it's been a very, very exciting year for us in 2018. And for 2019, I think we're trying to double down on ways to create value for our partners. We have a lot of interesting updates to give to you guys soon, especially with the Anchor advisory session that we have today. And we're excited to see how it goes. Munich, we finalized our batch 0 around 6 months ago. We are in the middle of a batch 1. We're trying to finalize that in January. So that's going to be when we're going to have our winter expo in Munich. It's going to be January, I think, 20th, which everyone is welcome to go. If you'd like to go, just shoot us a note. We could extend a ticket. We did a life health group benefit similar to the one that we did here over there, and then similar to a Bridge the Gap event that we do in Silicon Valley usually in the first 6 months of the year. We did one focus on regulations in Munich in November, which was a great way for us to engage with regulations there. And for 2019, I think we're really doubling down on making Munich the ultimate European innovation platform to increase our ecosystem beyond Germany. More partners from UK, Irish Life is a partner there, which we're very excited about, but more partners from UK, Spain, and some of the other countries to be able to create an ecosystem similar to here in Munich. All right, lights out. All right. Japan, we are in batch 1 as well. We finalized our batch 0 6 months ago. And now we have 6 partners. It's been growing very good. And as you guys know, Japan is the 2nd biggest insurance market in the world. Very exciting. We have a lot of great Japanese partners here. This was a way for us to be able to directly engage with the business units and complement the activities that we have here. Singapore just finalized our batch 0, and that just happened November 15. It was very exciting. I think Southeast Asia as a market is super, super interesting and super unique. A lot of interesting startups are coming out of the market, but at the same time, as a market itself, as an insurance market, India and Southeast Asia are very fascinating for a lot of the carrier partners that we have. New York, we don't run an accelerator program there, but we do a lot of events. We just finalized our cyber risk event November 29th. What we're doing in New York is different than Silicon Valley. In New York, we look at it as an outpost to engage more with business units. So Silicon Valley, we look at it as a hub to get a lot of exposure. In New York, we're trying to do more theme-based deep dives into topics and to bring a smaller crowd together to have a roundtable discussion and see the latest technologies that could help with that topic, which the cyber risk event was an example of that, which was very successful. At the same time, we did a very big summit in New York in June. We had roughly 600 people come out. We were sold out 2 months before the event. Which shows there's a lot of interest, and we're trying different things to be able to provide value there. One of the most exciting locations for me personally is China. I think I just visited China last 2 weeks ago. I think the quality of the companies were a lot better than I thought. I was very, very impressed. Most of the startups there are US educated and at least worked in a US company. I would 100% encourage everyone to go, if they can, to at least visit once. It's going to be a very, very interesting trip. Happy to provide more information. We're doing more to help with market intelligence, to provide more insights into what's happening, but you have to visit yourself as well. And then international, beyond the locations we had, we just did an event in London with Willis Towers Watson. It was a very good event. I think we had almost 100 carriers there. And then we did an event with South Africa, thanks to our friends at Sanlam, which was, again, very exciting. And we're trying to do more of these events in different locations to be able to engage with more business units within your companies rather than the innovation teams only. That being said, I want to quickly give an update on batch 4, because last time that I did this presentation, it was a lot more about what happened during the batch. This is like the results of our post-batch interviews. It's not too long. It's just a matter of like you guys getting a feel of what do startups usually look for by coming to Plug and Play. As you could see, 46% of our startups have a very big focus on just meeting corporations, more than us investing in them or anything else. The POC pilot kind of fits into that as well. That basically brings you to over 50% of the companies. But at the same time, we have companies that join and just seeing what's going to happen, which that's the 11%, as you could see. Didn't know what to expect. I hope they knew now, but I mean, could do a better job of educating, I guess. As you could also see that we are increasing the quality of our programs. We have invested a lot more time and resources into improving the quality through the mentor network, the advisor network, and collaboration with our corporates. Increasingly, the amount of startups are saying that they're getting more and more value out of the programs, which have been very exciting. But at the same time, there are companies that still don't see value. We have to fix that. And then last thing is that do the startups feel like they have an easier time working with corporates and to collaborate? And as you could see, the majority, by a huge difference, see value in this and see this as a way to be able to shorten the sales cycles and meet the most relevant people. And that's where the importance of a platform comes for us. And then 75% of the companies at least had 3 strong, basically, leads coming out of the program. Which is a very huge milestone for us. Going back to 2018 trend analysis, especially for this program, I think one of the first things is that, as we mentioned before, we're going more international, and as you could see, because of our more international presence and sourcing in more countries, our batches are more international focused, but still, because of proximity and just the quality of the companies, US is still dominantly the biggest area that we source from. Something that has happened many times, and I've talked about this a few times, I think as the corporates are getting more comfortable working with startups, they're getting more comfortable working with seed stage companies. And at the same time, as a lot of our partners are building their innovation capabilities, sourcing capabilities, they get to know a lot of the big stage companies. They really want to get access to the companies that otherwise they couldn't get access to. Does that mean we still don't work with growth stage companies? No. We still have a database of 10,000 companies. We're actively sourcing. We source from 14 industries. But when it comes to the program specifically, I think there's a little bit more value for sometimes earlier stage companies than growth stage companies. And that's why the number has picked up. And one other interesting thing is that we try to lower the general Insurtechs compared to last batches, and we ramped up our life and health group benefits as we had a lot more life partners join us. When we ask our partners what are the biggest areas of focus, I think these are the numbers that we got. Number 1 is underwriting by far. It's been a very huge area of interest. If we had asked people 2 years ago what was the biggest area, it would have been distribution. Everyone was looking for a sexy app or a sexy digital MGA, but it kind of has shifted a lot more towards risk management and understanding of risk. And it's, as you could see, claims has also become a lot bigger area of interest than it was 2 years ago. And this goes well with what we typically say that Insurtech evolution is moving towards back-end more and more from the front-facing. And that's just a quick way of looking into it. So deep diving into underwriting, if you look at what partners have interest in, data enrichment has risen number 1. Everyone is asking for ways to understand the risk through data a lot more than just automation. Automation is still very, very important, but I think the underwriting is switching towards who's got the best data. more than anything else, because the tools are becoming a commodity. A lot of the other stuff are becoming a commodity, but the data that you get access to, if other people don't have access to it, I think is becoming a very, very key differentiator in terms of your pricing. And then, as you could see, analytics and risk modeling is still a top 4. Machine vision is not as sexy as it was for underwriting. I think it's still very important for claims, but at least for the underwriting part, I think drone applications were really focused on underwriting before. One thing that happened, people realized that it's very expensive to use drones for underwriting. It makes more sense for claims. I think that had a big impact on this, but at least for now, this is a trend that we see. But on the other side of it, predictive analytics. I mean, insurance is about pricing risk as what's going to happen in the future. So it does make sense to spend more and more time on predictive analytics more than anything else when it comes to underwriting. When it comes to claims, I think the top areas that we've been focused on, as you could see, claims management was a big area of focus, but fraud and loss control have risen a lot. I think especially loss control, as it is 60% of what you guys are paying for in your pools, it makes sense to spend a lot more time on reducing the loss. And at the same time, fraud prevention, it's been a big area. And as you could see in terms of focus, machine vision is usually fluctuating. It's always an area of interest, especially the biggest area that everyone talks about is auto. The second one is about homes. How do you use drone technology partnered with machine vision to be able to do a better job of claim management? And then a lot of the AI applications, I think, are picking up as well. And then the last one, customer engagement. As you could see, it's been roughly the same area. I think customer support chatbots are still hot. They've dipped a little bit, but it's still a very big area of focus, which I think insurance is playing catch up with some of the other industries. But the user interface, retention, and rewards are all big areas of interest. As you can see, chatbot is dropping a little bit, but it still has a huge interest. But automation RPA, when it comes to customer engagement, that's where also chatbots plus some of the other technologies come in. And anything else to help us better understand the customer, to better service them, is very key. So as plug and play, I mean, at least our insurance team, the areas that we are very focused on and we like to focus more on, we basically sat down and we thought about what is it that we really want out of changing insurance and what is it that we really could help with. I think the number one thing is that insurance is kind of double the price of what it should be. If the loss ratio is 56% and your expense ratios are roughly 40%, that means insurance has a lot of room to become cheaper. But at the same time, the 56% loss ratios, a lot of it could be prevented maybe using fraud or using other loss control methods. So that's one area that we think we could help with, and technology could help a lot with. The second thing is reducing the expense ratios. So there's a lot of, especially with Enterprise 2.0 that we have coming up after Insurtech and a lot of the Insurtech solutions, there's a lot of ways to help reduce expense ratios using technology, automation, better pricing, and everything else that's going to play a key role in 2019. And the last one is about how do we make sure everything is still fair, that the customer doesn't feel like for us to reduce the cost that we're not going to pay out in a fair way. And at the same time, how do we make sure the hospital is not overcharging us or the pharma company for what the insurance company is paying. The second area, I think it's all about how do we make sure everyone's covered for everything. One of the most interesting areas for us is new products. I think that's one of the most exciting things in general because it's just different. We have everything like Blockry is going to talk today about crypto asset insurance. We have drone insurance or cyber insurance, all these new risks that we didn't have to worry about before. But now, with technology changing, there's a lot of new risks that are going to happen. And staying ahead of risk, the truth is a lot of the new risk is coming from technology centers like Silicon Valley. And being just aware of what's happening and keeping your fingers on the pulse, it's a very, very key thing to have. That's one of the reasons we think just being in the expos for other verticals could be very useful to know where's autonomous cars at, like what is Daimler looking at, or what is Johnson & Johnson looking at, or the latest health technologies. And then most importantly, I think insurance needs to become a little bit more consultancy in terms of helping people understand what their exposure is and then help them get the right exposure coverage rather than just sell them a product. And that's a key area for us to be able to help. How do we better help people understand and how do we better consult them? And last but not least, I think a lot of insurance carriers, especially the ones that are thought leaders in the space, are moving towards becoming more like a service provider than just a carrier of risk. And building service solutions when it comes to claim servicing, I think when it comes to claim servicing, USAA is a very, very known name, and that's one of the reasons the NPS scores are over 80%. And this is something I think a lot of the carriers are moving towards, but then this goes beyond just providing insurance. I think I was talking to Sampo, and the discussion was around how do we help customers with everything, not just the risk? And how do we make insurance a big part of the backbone of a family? And this is something, again, I think technology is going to play a large role in. That being said, that was a long discussion. Thank you for listening. You're going to have to listen to me a little bit more because I'm going to have a fireside chat with Luca Mariotti from Swiss Re. Thank you.